My name is Nick Haralambis, and today I want to talk to you about communication. One of the incredible things that I've seen emerge from this insane pandemic and the time that we live in is that most people have just opened up to communication. And it's something that most leaders think they're good at, but actually really aren't good at. It's something that most teams want to be better at, but generally suck when they come to communication. So I want to talk about three very key things that leaders and teams should be doing in this new world of remote work to help with communication and moving the world forward. I wrote an article about this a couple of weeks ago, and I'm stunned to see it's still going on. Teams and people are just so open to communication now because they know that they're physically further from everyone, so they have to be digitally closer with their communication. Now, the first thing that you need to do if you're leading a team or a small business or a family and you're all distant is talk to your team. It sounds like a really dumb thing, but just talk to people, whether you're using Slack or Skype or WhatsApp or Zoom calls or Hangouts or whatever. Those are just tools. The tools facilitate the communication. The communication between the people is the key thing. So make sure that you're talking to your teams more frequently. If you used to have weekly stand-ups, maybe consider having those stand-ups 2 or 3 times a week. If you used to talk to your teams monthly, then have those updates weekly. Over-communicating at this point is always going to be a better move for you and your company rather than under-communicating. There is a very key thing though to remember. Bad leaders over-communicate as a way to keep an eye on their team and to micromanage them. You do not want to be one of those leaders or team leaders or project managers who over-communicates to make sure that the team knows that you're watching them. That's not what anyone needs. Unfortunately though, this can be a problem if you don't trust the people that you work with. If you don't trust the people that you work with, then communicating with them as a means to keep an eye over them is generally something they're going to pick up on, and they're going to know that you don't trust them. So one of the harsh realities is if you don't trust the people that you work with, now is the time to sort that out and get rid of some of those people. There's never been a better time to cull your team down. It's a little bit brutal and people will feel really hard done by if they get chopped at this point. But if you don't trust the people you work with to work on their own or work remotely, then maybe you're not working with the right people. One of the things that I absolutely love to do with my teams, and I have done for a few years, is practice something called radical candor. It's a methodology of communication inside of teams, and the premise is really simple. You challenge the people directly, but you care about them personally. And that level of personal care really matters at a time like this. These aren't just people who don't matter in your life. They're the team who's supposed to bring your company together and help you maintain the level of efficiency that you've had when you were in the same room, but aren't in the same room anymore. So you've got to challenge them directly, care personally about the outcome, and trust them that they will do the work that they're going to do. That also obviously brings up the kind of goals that you set for your team. You've got to communicate in a way that helps them understand where they're working towards on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, so that you can all have the same aligned goals when you're communicating. If you don't have those goals set out, the chances are you're talking about X, they're expecting Y, and you never arrive at the same position. So once you've spoken to your team and you've dealt with that, the next very important part of your business that you need to talk about is your suppliers. You need to engage with the suppliers and creditors so that they know where your business is. If they think you're going to go under, they're probably going to expect you to pay them back really soon. But if they know that you're doing the best that you can to get them a payment over time or create payment terms, then the chances are they're not going to be up your ass. You need to give them communication so that they know to give you some distance to solve the problems that you have in front of them. Just bear in mind, they've also got suppliers and creditors who they can't pay. Everyone is struggling with this idea of how to pay people, in what payment terms, and how often and how much. So the more you communicate with them, the more you're giving them the ability to engage with you on a real human level. If you don't communicate with them at all, they're going to expect that you're hiding from them and running from them. So don't ignore them. Engage with them on a level that makes them feel like you're doing the best that you can do. And then finally, the last people that you should be talking to are your customers. If you have a great brand and a great business, the chances are your customers want you to survive. They don't want you to disappear and never hear from you again. We were going to go to a restaurant for date night, myself and my partner, and then the lockdown happened, and this is a very posh restaurant. And it's really strange that instead of engaging with us on a real level and asking us if we wanted to move our booking to a later date, they just started begging. they started begging us to make sure that we keep payments there and we don't cancel our bookings so that they can keep their lights on and they can pay their staff. And those things are all real and true, except I'm also going through something, and so is my business, and so are their suppliers. Begging me to help pay for something that I wasn't going to get now isn't really the right solution. If they'd engaged with me in a real level and told me that I could make my booking for another time or something else, rather than begging, it's likely that I would have kept my booking. So when you do engage with your customers, make sure it's authentic. Make sure you're talking to them on a one-on-one human level, and engage with them and make them understand what you're going through and ask them what they're going through. We all want to work with each other to make this work so that that restaurant is around when I'm back out of lockdown and wanting to go for dinner again. So to recap, 3 types of people that you should be engaging with in your company: your team, like they're humans who you trust; your suppliers and your creditors, so that they know you're not running away; and then finally your customers, so that they get onto your side and you can engage with them once this is all over. Those are my communication tips. I'm really glad that communication is at the front of everyone's mind right now. If you're a small business owner, and you're thinking about engaging with your clients on that level, then you absolutely should. You should check out my website, nickharalambous.com, for my podcast, my ebook, and any other updates that I've got coming for small businesses.